I'm halfway around the globe in the Australian outback, in the mines of Lightning Ridge, Australia. Why? The most beautiful opals in the world, that's why.
Lightning Ridge has got the best black opals in the world.
Lightning Ridge can best be compared to the Old West in the United States. No fancy mining operations, just real miners using not much more than a pick and a shovel. But if you want the finest quality Australian opal, it's the only place on earth to go, and there is no one better to take you than Peter Sherman. Peter is a third-generation opal miner and buyer whose family has been working in Lightning Ridge since opals were discovered there in 1903.
I'm a third-generation opal dealer. My family started in 1896 at a place called White Cliffs in New South Wales with my granddad when he was 12 years of age. For me, it's just a passion. It's the most interesting business to be in. The mining side of it, we're very heavily involved in the mining, of course. I've got a house up at Lightning Ridge, centre of town, and I go there backwards and forwards, buying off other miners and also taking goods from our mining team, cutting and polishing those goods and then distributing them all around the world.
Peter agreed to take this group of jewelers into the unforgiving outback. So they charter a couple of 10-passenger planes and set out from Sydney.
Lightning Ridge is home to the black opals. The opals the Aboriginal people thought were rainbows that were created by the Maker, who threw them to earth and scattered them across the desert. We know more now about the opal. The opal was caused by water taking and running through the sandstone, collecting the silica along the way. When everything went just right and the silica molecules lined up perfectly, we got that step beyond a prism that we call opal. It's a captured rainbow in stone. No other gemstone is like it. Besides Lightning Ridge, we also find opal at Coober Pedy. Coober Pedy is an Aboriginal word. It means white man in the hole. Also, White Cliffs is famous for the white opal. The Boulder opal, which is a beautiful opal formed in the ironstone, comes from Queensland. Australia is responsible for over 90% of the world's opal. This is the Australian outback. Out behind you can see all the tailings. This area is all taken and laid out by the government for small miners. Only small miners can mine the opal here.
That's where you start going out grid drilling across the landscape, 9-inch auger holes, trying to find a fault or slide under the ground, which will then possibly have opal deposits at the base of that fault or slide. People just used to think of opal as just an oval-shaped stone with 4 claws. Very nice, pretty interesting, but it was all just a little bit too nice and interesting. And these days, when you've got dentist drills, Dremels, things like that, where you can actually drill out a piece of sand or a slight imperfection and follow the contour of the colour, the way God actually made the colour to roll through a stone, you can make very unusual pieces of stone, natural stone carved out, and make beautiful, very, very distinctive jewellery out of it. And I think that's what the passion for me is, that it's every single piece is a one-off. Lightning Ridge, and you think that nobody has $1 because they're all just walking around a pair of shorts and an old t-shirt. No one shows any signs of wealth or trappings. You wouldn't know if this guy was a millionaire or just had $10 in his pocket. And that's what they like about it too. They go up there to escape, to get to where they want to be in their own space. They go to work when they want to, they come home when they want to, there's no traffic lights, there's no one telling them what to do. And they have the chance to actually make $1 million, or $2 million, or 5 or 10 if they're lucky enough to fall right on the big patch. It's 1 in a million, but it's a gamble, like buying a lottery ticket. You might have the winning ticket, you might have the best claim, you might not. That's what life's all about, and that's what makes it really, really interesting.
Sometimes the miners are on opal, finding enough to keep them busy and their clients happy for months. Other times there's little opal to be found. It's a hard life digging a 50-foot hole on your 150 by 150-foot claim, searching underground for a big strike of seam opal or knobbies, which are the 2 types of opal formations. Much of the opal cutting and polishing is done by experienced local cutters.
I've been cutting and polishing and carving. Cutting and polishing mostly for about 15 to 18 years and carving for about 8. I've had a great time learning, and it's just a growing market because people want the more free shaped pieces. It's more expressive. Jewelers enjoy it. It's a challenge for them to set it, and it gives them more expression in their work as well. Same with us. This is normally how I get the material brought to me by the miners and my clients. They just come and bring this. Sometimes it's a bit roughed out and taken the top off so they can see what it is before I get it. Then I get my little handpiece, which is a burr. Sometimes I use this machine, this fixed arbor here. And this is just a micromotor handpiece. Then I just clean up some of the sand.
And then you've got to look at it and work which way you're going to cut it. You turn it around to which angle is going to be best, which is going to be the top, which is going to be the bottom. It's just amazing. And sometimes you rub it down and it's completely the opposite to what you think. It faces one colour this side, and when you turn it the other way, it's completely different. So you'll have to rethink what your idea of cutting the stone is, what you're going to do with it.
Then we end up with a piece that we have to start using finer and finer burrs, and then we move into sandpaper, and after the sandpaper we start with some diamond paste at times, sometimes the diamond sandpaper we use.
Seeing firsthand the conditions and hard work that goes into every opal was incredible. But the jeweler's true goal was to handpick the very best Australian opals before the rest of the world has a chance. They were looking to handpick the best of the best, the ones that would normally get bought up by wholesalers from Asia, the Middle East, or Europe.
14.93 carats. I mean, to get stones over 4 or 5 carats is very, very rare these days. For some reason, the mines just aren't producing large stones. I don't know why.
Access to this quality and quantity of opal can only be achieved by traveling halfway around the world. Most of the opals they were selecting would never have made their way to the U.S. In the same way they buy diamonds in Antwerp, Belgium, and gold in Italy, Australia is the world's leader for opal. The philosophy of buying at the source is what makes their quality and selection second to none. The miners and dealers at Lightning Ridge have never seen a group of retail jewelers visiting the mines and buying at the source. It was an education for everyone. The quality, selection, and value was better than anyone expected, making the unbelievably long flight worthwhile.
Don't miss the unbelievable Australian opals only at Faye's Diamond Mine in Clinton.